Now, the rest of the story.
Welcome back, everybody. We're coasting into probably one of the best finishes we've had in a while. I'd say maybe least stressful, just in account of the fact that harvest is done. Hopefully by this time tomorrow, tillage, that everything we wanted to get tilled will be done. And all I have left is about 150 acres of corn residue to hit with the rotary mower. Get those chewed up, partly because some of it's no-till, some of it isn't, but I won't be doing tillage on it this fall. So grind it up and let the cows graze it all they want. Help the residue break down for next spring. And other than that, haul manure and take care of cows. See, there's not much to really update on as far as the cattle go. My calves are growing really nice. I got to run them through the chute here. I'm gonna give them their second round of shots. I'm gonna brake check the cows, and that's kind of an up in the air deal as far as how I'm gonna react to that. If I have, less than 10 open that I would say need to be called out, I'd say I got lucky. It was a success. If forbid that we go through and check them again and I got over 20 that are open, that'll just be a rage sell at that point. I'd probably end up selling everything that looks at me cross. It's not really the best time to be buying cattle for building your herd, because first calf bred heifers we're going for a little over 3,200. I guess I don't know the top of the market, but I was told that one of this guy's relatives I was talking to, they paid like $3,250 for Black Angus bred heifers. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money on an animal that could not even make the trip home in the trailer and have all four legs in the air. That's kind of hard to get excited about that. It wasn't very long ago, you could have bought bred heifers for $1,500, $1,600, $1,700. It all depends on the quality you're aiming for. And sometimes guys don't want heifers; they want a 4 or 5 year old cow that actually knows what she's doing. Oh well, we'll see. Not really having to run the chisel very much. I can't say that. The first day we ran, we knocked out 160 acres in about 24 hours. We got about 100 acres. Well, before we started today, we had about 100 acres left. The goal is to have half of that done today, half the rest of it done tomorrow, and then chisel plows won't be needed until next spring. We got about 50 acres that we didn't chisel that we would typically, but it's been ground that we made corn fodder off of. So it's where we're going to spread manure over the winter. I mean, Dad and I hauled not even a full day last week out of the lot at Rockville, because I got all that manure piled up, and I was able to cover everything I wanted on Big Patch, which is the piece just beyond the gate there. Got that covered because we took a bunch of corn residue off that, and that was the first stuff that we ended up chiseling the other day. And this winter's corn residue, it's not just even fodder bales like for bedding or bed pack. When you're feeding them hay and whatnot, it's everything that they pull out or stomp on, and whatever hay and grass doesn't get eaten. But I gotta get some more feed around the home farm because I got at least feed for my cattle on 3 different locations. And for going on 3 weeks now, I've been saying I'm gonna go down and, get something. I haven't yet. They're currently all of my hay supplies at the home farm that I thought I was sitting all right on are getting burned through rather quickly. I'm also feeding about 4 bales at a time, 3 bales to the cows, and my feeders are eating about a bale a week. I pulled them off the creep feeder, and now I'm just giving them rolled corn and the protein. Well, they're filling up on hay now, but they're putting more growth on them. They're not just ballooned out or filled out from eating all the grain they want. They're losing some of that, and they're getting just that straight rolled corn. A lot more energy for them. Plus, filling up with the hay it's got them looking really nice. Just trying to keep them dry and clean is sometimes be a challenge. Because we got about another full day of manure to haul at the home farm. Probably a couple days at my place, a couple days at Ryan's place. But not having to worry about getting harvest done, because we had a lot of little things happen that I really didn't think much of until Ryan started naming off some of the random stuff that it's just a product of farming. Bad things happen, things break or get worn down. And a flat tire this morning, big deal. Fix it and get on with your day. The running 2 chisels is nice. This one, I want to get another deer chisel for sure. I don't know, part of me says get rid of this one regardless. Because we had 3 chisel plows, and we got the tractors to put on them. We got the people that could go in them and knock out chiseling in a very short amount of time. I like tillage, don't get me wrong, it's just sometimes the weather really doesn't give you the chance to get everything turned over in the time that you're given. Could get harvest done quicker, but we're not set up to get harvest done quicker. We'll get there. The corn was alright, beans were crummy. That's just kind of how it goes when you got unpredictable and uncontrollable weather. Relina just left. She was actually riding along all day today. And I thought she wanted to go home, so Brittany come and got her after she was in here for going on 5 hours. Brittany said that she just called me. She was not happy to be going home with Mom. She wanted to stay here with me. I don't have a whole lot more to do. I've been going for 5 hours now, 5.5 hours, and I only had 20 some acres to do. Ryan's had 25. I got like 25 to do. And then tomorrow it's kind of mismatched. I'm going to go into a 20 acre field. Dad's going to a 30 acre field. But still, I get done, I can go over and finish that up. And it'd be nice to not have to look at all the ground that needs to be turned up over yet. the ground can freeze and I can still grind corn stalks up. So I'm really not worried about that at that point. And wouldn't be right to not risk plugging the chisel plow talking to you guys and not paying attention. Maybe that was the reason I wasn't plugging it. I just wasn't paying attention. And we actually get some cold weather. They are calling Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like highs in the low 20s, lows in the teens. I'm okay with it getting cold. I want to actually get some fence put in yet, which that sounds kind of... I still think it's possible because they're calling for 30s next week. At least get in the wood posts in. But if it would stay in the 20s all winter, I'd be fine with that. I'll take the cold. I really don't want the snow. I just don't want to have to deal with mud all winter trying to take care of cows. It's poor man's concrete. As far as the rain goes, everything is pretty well saturated. There's plenty of moisture here. For being as dry as we were in July and August, September, we end up getting a couple random rain showers that were an inch, 2 inches. And once you get very far into October and you get much rain, it really doesn't do much for drying out. I mean, the sun's up at 7 o'clock and it's going back down at 3 o'clock. Because honestly, Relina left at 3 and I thought it was going on at like 4:30. Dad did the same thing yesterday. It was noon yesterday and we thought it was 3 o'clock. The lack of sunlight hitting us anymore at this time of the year. But we're sitting pretty good going into the fall. Sitting good as in getting all the tillage done that we want. Getting that, well, we ripped a bunch of ground. I paid to have a bunch of that ripped. Doing some trials. I'd like to see if I can see any difference throughout the rest of the field. Compared to the ground that's ripped. I did that side dressing cultivator trial on my field 2 years ago. Now that same pass in the field that I did that trial on is going to have my deep ripping trial on it, because I'd like to not have to work the ground up. A couple spots I see it's rough, or it looks like he was chiseling when all he was doing was pulling a 5-shank ripper. So I'll go through and run the disc over that light, smooth it out. But it's going to be interesting. I can go through with the planter and set different regions. So as I'm planning on the ripped part of the field, I can put a specific region that the monitor will remember when we go to harvest. So when we're driving through that corn, the corn monitor, the harvest monitor, already changes over to that is its own specific area. So you're only watching those acres and as you're harvesting them. So that'll be interesting. That's why I tried to do more than one pass. Brian with the drone was able to put fungicide down, and instead of following the rows, he was going across the rows and making passes. And he actually showed that in his videos on his soybeans, where it was a 10 bushel difference. He's going, what, 64 to 72, 75? And you could visually see in the field as you were driving into it, the yields would go up and down. That's not really anti-fungicide, but having our own drone, it makes it a lot easier to make the call of, I'd like to get such and such hit with fungicide. Especially if you're not waiting for somebody to show up and spray it, a plane or a ground rig. Ryan went through and sprayed all the fungicide that we did do. By himself, kept offering if he ever needed help, just ask, and he was able to go through and did all of our fungicide in the ideal window that it needed to be sprayed. So those drones are super handy. We're not out of the woods yet on wanting our own sprayer. If I had a decent pull type, I'd really consider running first pass with it, like putting the 76 on it and have to splurge for a monitor or whatnot, or just a controller. But with our first pass, we can get that on before the crops come up. I wouldn't be super worried about following the rows if we are or aren't able to. It'd be better if you could, I understand that. Sometimes getting it sprayed in a timely manner before the crop is coming up is worth more than being worried that you're going to have some compaction or driving on rows here and there on and off. Oh, the more you can do, the better. This job space, the better off you are. Well, this is probably the last tillage video, the only tillage video you guys are getting. We'll see. But if I'm up to turn the camera on tomorrow or not. See, that should actually go a lot quicker. The piece down here that I did, it had a lot of point rows. And I spent 2.5 hours doing that. It's just so many short passes and then turning around and dropping in and turning around, and you spend more time turning than you actually feels like you're actually working ground up. But the stuff is working up really nice. And so we try to run that corn head as low to the ground as we can. But it's got those chain roll stock rolls on it. I like to run it as low as I can. As you're processing those stalks, it's chopping, it's breaking the stalks open so they'll decompose, and it's crimping them, and then it's also cutting those stalks every, I think, 7 inches, and it is allowing us to go through the standing stalks with the chisel plow, or a disc chisel plow, and not have to go through with the rhino cutter or even the disc just to break them up so you can chisel them. My friend, he just has a chisel, which is a 3-point mounted shank machine. There's no discs on the front, it's just the shanks. So he has to go through and disc everything first and then chisel it. So that's just adding another pass, more time in the seat, more fuel burn through the engine, more wear and tear on the machine. I'm not opposed to doing, putting hours in, doing this or that, but if you don't have to, it's just more money in the bank, or more money that's staying in the bank. So I'm going to focus on getting done here. I still got to go home and feed cows. I actually got to grind corn, roll corn to my roller mill we got up in the machine shed. I just got to pull corn and throw buckets and run them through that roller mill, which it's steps, but to be honest with you, it's working out a lot better than I gave it credit for. I really didn't think it'd be as simple as it is to do it like I am. I wasn't planning on having it in the machine shed, but that way I can at least throw my buckets in the gator and I can back the gator right up to it. Throw the buckets in, and as it's rolling them out the conveyor, I can just throw them right back in the gator. But I am also grinding up enough for several days, so I do about 4 days worth whenever I do that, so it's not a daily occurrence. In the middle of winter, it's not the end of the world. I mean, during a snowstorm, it'd be nice not having to pull corn and have to roll it out. But using that roller mill all winter. I know Ryan's going to use it. My plan is to throw out, I think it's five buckets, depending on how many cows I get rid of. 5 buckets of rolled corn to my cows all winter too. Probably up to about the 1st of April. Largely just to make sure they keep their condition, and the calves that they're growing are getting the benefit from it, having some more corn ran through them. Healthy calves is the name of the game, and then by the time I get around to feeding my cows, which will be when I get my feeders sold, I'll just switch over to just feeding the cows right away. Shouldn't have any of the cull cows eating on any of that corn. See how that plays out. At least everything that we're getting chiseled, if it freezes good, you get that freeze thaw, help with compaction. Chiseling is better in the fall. I mean, we will be chiseling in the spring, but it mellows out. The ground mellows out so much more having it work in the fall from going through the winter. And I've actually noticed I prefer planting ground that's been worked in the fall versus worked in the spring. It's not as clumpy. It's not as rough. And you still, I guess it isn't as much of an issue now that we're harrowing it. Behind the disc, generally it's been Dale or maybe Ryan and Dad going through and harrowing ahead of the planter behind the disc. That smooths it out, pushes any of the air out of the ground, out of the soil, and it's planting behind that harrow is, I really prefer planting behind that. It's a really nice seed bed. We are set up to no-till, and we are doing more of it. We're doing more in-till. But corn on corn stuff, anything that is corn on corn, we like to see it worked. Which we got continuous corn too, that it helps with the residue breakdown, having it chiseled. That's the second time it's plugged and I'm losing daylight, so I'm going to quit talking to myself and focus on getting done. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.